Hello and welcome to Marina's Yarn Harbor. This is episode 8. Hello and welcome to Marina's Yarn Harbor, a podcast about knitting and yarn. My name is Marina. I am the knitter here at Marina's Yarn Harbor. I live in South Central Michigan with my husband and 2 cats, and this is where I come to talk about what I've been knitting. It's been a while since I've talked about any of what I've been knitting. I think the last time I actually filmed a podcast was back in April of 2023. And so I'm getting back in the swing of things with a new camera and a new mic, so apologies if anything is a little strange. I'm hoping that the 4K turns out good, but we'll see. We're going to start with a little bit of structure like normal with what I'm wearing. And what I'm wearing is the Moon Glade tee by Row and Cades, also known as Kelly Menzies. She is a designer over in the UK, and I have been working on this top for a while. I actually have had it finished for a while and I didn't talk about it at all. So I apologize for that. This was a really fun knit. I knit it in the color Moody Blues from Adelaide Fiber Company, which is a local Michigan dyer. It's very, very soft. I absolutely love the pattern in the sleeve, which is also mimicked on the hem. I'm just not going to get stood up to show you. It is, I think, the wrong size, which I think is kind of my fault. I believe this is supposed to be in a little bit more, and then this is supposed to be up a little higher, but it works. I think my gauge was a little bit off, and then the other thing too is I actually have lost a little bit of weight since I knit this, which was kind of my concern with knitting it in the first place, but I think it's fine, and I think it's pretty cute, and I wanted to share it with all of you. So I finished a thing, and actually I finished a lot of things. I just haven't shared it with you because 2023 was kind of a crazy year. So at the beginning of 2023, I lost my job. I had been at my job for 5.5 years doing kitchen design and layout, and I didn't realize how important that job was to my sense of identity, and it actually kind of put me into a little bit of a depression spiral for a bit there. I'm fine now. I didn't end up working secularly or finding another job, which was daunting at first, but fortunately my husband has a good job, and we just kind of simplified a little bit more so that I could not have to work secularly, which was really nice. But during all of that, I definitely reached out to friends and family and found a really good support group. And that was all going really well until a good friend of mine who was part of that support group and really filled a maternal role for me passed away in July of last year. And so we're coming up on a year for that, which just blows my mind. It's really, it's just crazy, but yeah, she always had really good advice for me, and like I said, she filled a maternal role, so her death hit everyone really, really hard. And so the summer was just kind of, in my personal opinion, it was a wash. So I was not in a good headspace to share any of my knitting or what was going on. I just was knitting because I needed to knit. And then in September, my father-in-law got his hip replaced, and so that was my sole focus. I was still knitting, but taking care of him took priority. And the good news is that his surgery went super, super well, and he healed up really good, and he's doing great. So that was September. And then in October, I started thinking about potentially making Marina's Yarn Harbor more of a small business, and trying my hand at vending at a show. And so I found the Royal Stagg Renaissance Fair that was happening in May of 2024, and I started prepping for that. And so that is where I have been the last 6, 7, 8 months, dealing with a summer depression and then heading directly into a super crazy project. So yeah, I have been knitting like a mad woman. I found a whole bunch of patterns. I bought a whole ton of yarn, and then I started knitting. And it's been a lot, because it wasn't even just preparing for one show. It was also preparing the whole booth, buying a canopy tent, buying business cards, and getting a website set up, which I do have now and I'll have linked below. And then trying to decide what kind of business model I wanted to have. I can't even tell you how much I stressed out over pricing for the items that I sold. But it was a lot of work, and it's a lot of work that I wouldn't have accomplished what I did without the help of my friends and family and the encouragement that I got, because I am not a risk taker. Surprise! I don't do things. I don't put myself out there. I don't take those kinds of risks. I've had thoughts about having a small business before, even a hobby business before, and the thought was always, no, just don't take that risk, because you won't make it. But something about the end of last year heading into this, I was like, I gotta try. I want to try. I want to be brave. So I was. And I think that it went extremely well. So I'm recording this on the 15th of May, and so it was on May 11th and 12th, and it was called the Royal Stagg Renaissance Fair. It was over in Marshall, Michigan. It was a 2-day event, and it was definitely a different experience. I hadn't been to a Renaissance Fair in a really long time, but we had a good time. Everyone was super, super nice. Our neighboring booths were really, really kind. All of the people who came through and looked at my stuff were really nice. I got a lot of compliments on my lace work, which I really appreciated. I got to talk to a bunch of knitters and crocheters, and so that was really cool to find some fiber friends at a Renaissance Fair. I will say I was really nervous for a lot of different reasons, but one of them was the weather. I was pretty sure that the weather was going to be sunny and maybe a little humid and not very conducive to selling wool things, because most of the stuff that I was selling was wool, or either wool or wool alpaca blend, and so I was like, well, my expectations were not very high. And then Saturday, it was frigid. It was so, so cold and windy. I ended up wearing a bunch of product just to stay warm. I can't really tell you how cold everybody got, but I can tell you that when I wasn't like covered up by a blanket, I was shivering, and my teeth were chattering, and it just was not warm. And so as a result, I sold so many gloves. So many gloves. I brought a grand total, I think, of like 57 items, and I think I came home with 14, and the math on that works out to like a 75% sales rate. And I just have to say, man, it was definitely the Saturday weather. I ran out of men's gloves, and I was knitting another pair as fast as I could through the bad weather. Most of what sold were these little owl gloves. These are the fingerless gloves with owls by Janice Frank. And this direction doesn't really look too exciting, but you turn them upside down, and I'm gonna put one on. You turn them upside down, and you've got a little owl. And they were super cute, and those did really, really well. People were really happy with those. And then I also had the Sherwood mitts by Ashley Knowlton, and I'm gonna wear the green ones on camera. These ones are nice because they've got some detail braiding right here in the front, and then a little bit of lace down at the cuff. And they were nice. Those ones sold pretty well as well. I still have, so these were some of the ones that I think I only have 2 pairs of both that I brought home, and then I had some for the men or whoever wanted them, some sailor's rib fingerless gloves. And these ones, another vendor was going to purchase, and then it didn't work out, so I ended up with them. And they've got a slip stitch reinforced palm with a really fun decorative backside. And for the Renaissance Fair, I felt like they kind of looked a little chainmail-y, like armor, but for just general purpose, they were just warm. They were just warm, and so they went like crazy. So that was Saturday, and then Sunday was a lot warmer, and then Sunday was also a day that I got a chance to do more with my lace shawls and show people who had already been visiting and seen them on Saturday. They were a little more inclined on Sunday. So I brought 4 lace shawls with me, and of the 4 lace, not 4, oh my goodness, I brought 8. I brought 8 lace shawls with me, and 4 of them sold, which made me really happy. One of them that didn't sell, but that everyone seemed to really think was cool, was this shawl. This is the Dragon Scale Shawl by Denise Plord. And this baby is beautiful, I think. She just, I was really, really shocked actually that this one didn't go. I really like the detailing up here at the neck on either side. Either side of that, and then we fade into the terracotta color here before getting to the reds at the very end. So I was really surprised that one didn't go, because I thought it was one of my favorites. But I actually, interestingly enough, had a ton of people tell me that they would buy this, but if it was in black, and I was a little surprised by that. But who knows? We'll see how that goes. So yeah, so I did really, really well, and I'm not trying to brag or, you know, be crazy, but like I had really low expectations, and those were exceeded and surpassed. So I'm really proud of myself for even just taking the risk, because it could have not been as successful as this, and that still would have been fine. But just me getting out there makes me proud of myself for doing something different. So it's been big, and it's taken up a lot of time. I actually knit so much though, I knit myself into an injury. I gave myself knitter's elbow, also known as tennis elbow, wherein you work things too hard, and then this nerve right here gets really sensitive. So I fixed that by knitting with a brace, but now I've got some carpal tunnel stuff happening with my index finger and my thumb. So I'm actually on a knitting break until June, and it's kind of killing me because I want to cast on so bad. I have actually been looking at more patterns and getting ready to do another show. I am signed up to do the Fall Craft Show by Lori's Events on Saturday, September 14th from 10 in the morning to 4 p.m. It's a free event here in Jackson, Michigan, and it's going to be at the American One Event Center at the Jackson County Fairgrounds. So I'll make sure all that's information is in the description box below. So I've got about 3 months starting in June to get prepped for that, which means a lot more knitting and being conscientious of how I'm knitting. But I have found a ton of patterns, and the yarn that I like is on sale, and so I am going to be really excited for that one. My goal and my aesthetic for the Renaissance Fair was to have items that looked like they could be part of Renaissance garb, but not that they were costumey, that you could include them in your everyday life. And so I think I was really successful with that. And so I am currently looking at trying to potentially book one or two other fall shows and a winter show. And so for fall, my collection of items and patterns and how I want what I've got on sale to go is I'd like to focus on like for fall color, and I don't know if pattern's the right word, but color. I want it to be colorful. And then for winter, I'm thinking I'm going to be focusing more on texture and finding pieces and patterns that are not just visually interesting, but also like really different to touch. So I'm actually super inspired. This Renaissance Fair took off with a bang, and so now I'm trying to keep that momentum. I have a couple Ravelry boards going if you'd like to check them out. I will link my Ravelry below. But yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who helped, because I wouldn't have a logo if it weren't for my friends. I wouldn't have good photos if it weren't for my friends. I wouldn't have done any of this if it weren't for my friends and for my family who encouraged and supported me. So I'm alive, I'm well, I've been busy, I'm gonna be busy, but I'm gonna really work to include all y'all in this. So yeah, somewhere down the line I'll have another update. But in the meantime, it's really been nice talking with all of y'all and catching you all up. I can't wait to show you what's coming next. So anyway, I am gonna go do an inventory now on what skeins I've got left and try and come up with a yarn order so that I can get the yarn that I like on sale. Anyway, all right, that's really it. I hope that you have an excellent rest of your day. Thank you for visiting the Yarn Harbor, and I will talk with you soon. All right, bye-bye.